Well, we're back. Kudos to those of you who noticed that Newton Notes Volume 5 was followed by Newton Notes number 7. Welcome. This is Volume 6 of Newton Notes. Roxy says hello and vote for me.
And now, here is Bill Powell, candidate for Newton City Council.
If you've been watching or reading for the last several months about the campaign being put on by myself, Scott Gilliland, and Riesel Wright, otherwise known as the Three Amigos or the Goon Squad, you've probably heard us all three talk constantly about open communication and fairness to all citizens. Let me read a couple of phrases from some of our handout cards. No more backroom deals. All council members can speak freely. Citizen input is welcome and encouraged. Every citizen's questions will be answered. Going further, make sure every citizen and every area of Newton are treated equally. No one will get preferential treatment, and every voice will be respected equally. And some of you may have heard and even been put off by some of the references I've made to the upper crust in charge of the city council, the privileged few. Unfortunately, I do believe that is the case, and I believe that is one of the problems that we face today. The three of us are committed to changing the course of discourse in the city of Newton. And I'm going to say it again. We want to hear from every citizen, from every corner of Newton, where nobody's left out, everyone is treated the same, and we listen and deal and address everybody equally, as much as is humanly possible. One of my pet peeves for years has been the way the meetings are conducted once a month now for the city of Newton, and how unfair these meetings can be and how unequally the rules are applied, in my opinion, depending upon who you are and where you live and how popular you are. I'm going to give you two examples straight from the YouTube archives of the City of Newton council meetings. They're both from 2025, and they show you the two extremes of what I'm describing. And I'm going to let you draw your own conclusions as to why the two clips I'm showing are so different, both in attitudes and in scope and in length. These two clips have not been edited in any way. The first one is lengthy, the second one is not. Even though you can fast forward through the first clip, I think that you should listen to every word said, the content, the speaker, and how long they're allowed to speak. Here are those two clips.
The public hearing is open now for anyone who'd like to make any comments or if you have any questions. And our first speaker this evening, please state your name.
Patrick Sturkey. I live on South Brady. So, do I just get 3 minutes, or what is the situation? Is this a conversation, or do I just talk? Because I have some questions.
We limit all of our discussions to 3 minutes.
Well, then I'll try and go as fast as I can. So, let me just preface this by saying, I come from a business background, and I know business and government, the way they keep their books and look at accounting and areas is very different. But I guess I'll get straight to the point since I have 3 minutes. So I started looking at the budget, and that's all fine. But that led me to, what I was really looking for in there was a balance sheet for the city. And so I found that in the statement of net position from June 30th, 2024, which is the yearly statement that I guess they're going to do another one here in a few weeks, that the accountants do all that. So my question is this. I'm looking through that, and I see that we basically, I mean, if I'm understanding this correctly, we have $36 million in cash in the bank. And I'm wondering why that's the case when we're talking about a $70 million budget. And I mean, like, again, this, maybe I don't understand it, but it seems like that's a lot of cash to have in reserve when we're talking about a lot of projects. I mean, I sat in on one of the budget meetings, and we were talking about bathrooms up at the North Side Park or something like that, and some pickleball courts. And then, I mean, I guess the other point I would make is then you compare that to things like we've got this $30 tax essentially on vehicles that brings in, best I can tell, about $300,000. So, I mean, if we've got $36 million in the bank, why are we charging people $30 a car? It seems like this money could be put to use or something. Like I said, maybe I don't understand it, but I would like some explanation as to when we've got $36 million in cash and short-term investments. Our total current assets are anything that are maturing under a year, $52 million. Now, some of that is restricted, I understand. And then we've got long-term assets, capital assets. And then if you look at our liabilities, we have short-term liabilities basically of just under $10 million. So I mean, it seems to me like we could use some of this money to do some of the stuff we want to do in the city. And I understand, I got 30 seconds. I understand probably what's happening is we so much want to balance the budget that we don't ever go into deficit, so we don't ever have a reason to spend the $36 million. But my suggestion would be to maybe, as much as politicians and people hate it, I get it, go into deficit so we can use some of that money on some of the projects that we want to do. So,
all right. Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. Great question. And we have a finance director here with us tonight. Where is she? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry, Kim. Kim, could you help address?
We do not have $36 million in cash it's sitting in a bank account. We do have unspent debt proceeds that are sitting in various accounts. Depending on what statement you looked at,
I was looking at the June 30, 2024 statement of net position by the
What
county.
page is that on?
29. I mean, y'all call it a statement of net position. Like I said, I call that a balance sheet. In the business world, it's called a balance sheet.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So it's showing current assets, cash and short-term investments, $36,167,237.
And that 36, that's a total of our general fund and all of our
It says
enterprise
governmental
funds.
activities, and like I said, I don't know what all that is.
And
Government activities, business type activities. But I guess my larger point is obviously, if we've got $36 million, and maybe I'm wrong on what that is, but it seems like a lot of money to be sitting, and that's the way I've read it so far.
Are you familiar? You're familiar with general fund and enterprise funds?
Yes.
The difference?
I would say.
Well, let's touch on that a little bit too.
okay, well, you'll see what makes up that total 36. 18 million is the general fund. Those are governmental activities. That includes your general fund, your special revenue funds, your general capital project funds, any your federal asset seizure fund, those type of funds. Your enterprise or business type activities are your water, wastewater, sewer, electric funds, any fund that's like a business type fund. Your capital project funds for your electric fund or your enterprise fund. So that's the two differences. Now I'd have to go pull my notes and my records and see what makes up each of those to tell you exactly what each of those is. But I'm more than happy, if you want to come see me, we can do that.
My point is not really what they are. I mean, sitting there. Why-
can't go to anything.
And maybe we
You
are
wanna
doing
address
something.
it? You wanna-
Maybe that's what you're trying to tell me.
you wanna
and
touch
I'm-
on this?
I'm
And what you get is you get your fund balance, basically, is what you come up with. And that is what we have. You start out with maybe a large amount, and then there's different categories of that fund balance. There's committed, there's restricted, there's assigned. And so you might start off with 20 million, but you're gonna wind up, after you take away what's restricted, what's committed.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I mean, the other thing I saw in here was when they, and this is the auditor, or the accountants in their audit report, I mean, they are saying here, in the financial highlights, so I'm on page 16 now, it says of this amount, financial highlights, of this amount, 28,797,840 unrestricted net position may be used to meet the city's ongoing obligations to citizens and creditors. So I guess my question is, what does that mean? Do we use it for anything, or do we have to use it for certain things?
No, and I'm
there's a whole other thing about how some of it's restricted and whatever. So I mean, it's just,
If
I'm
you
just
look-
trying to get a better understanding.
If you look on page 41, that's
Well, I
where.
just have a few pages that I.
Okay, well, if you go back and look on page 41, that's where your notes to the financial statements are. And a lot of the stuff that you're wanting to know will be explained in those notes to the financial statements.
I'll go back.
Now, our fund balance starts on, that explains the difference, where if you start out with like 20 million, 28 million, what all comes out of that. That starts on page,
Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and welcome to my.
Let me just ask you,
51.
if I may, let me ask you just kind of a basic question. So of the let's say the 28,797, as a council or as a city, could we just say, we want to take $1 million of that and spend it on this? Is that something that can be done, or is that?
yes, that can be done. It just depends on, as long as it's within the legal statutes of what you can spend the money on, yes. That's why you have a lot of ordinances that'll come to council establishing a capital project, because they'll decide that they want to spend X amount of money on this capital project or another.
And that's a good point. So the fire station, which I think is a great project, my understanding is the money's going to be borrowed for that, or maybe I'm misunderstanding that. So that was like $5 million. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right now, it is put in the budget as proceeds from borrowing, but if we find grants or another way to fund that, you can come back and make an amendment and change the funding source of that. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna
What
ask
is-
Sean, yeah.
Sean, what is roughly our fund balance in the general fund? Our unrestricted fund
Our
balance?
unrestricted is roughly about 4.5 to 5 million right now. It started out, if you look on page, I think it's 51 of the financial statements, it talks about how much we had and what we started out at. And what we do is you start out with this number. Then you have to take away your leases, because those are not spendable, your inventories, because those are not spendable. Then there's what's called restricted for state statute or state stabilization, and that's the LGC, the Local Government Commission, has a worksheet, and they utilize that worksheet to calculate that percentage that you have to keep. Then after that comes up with what they might call called available fund balance, but that's where you get into, we have, a certain amount that's allocated to the Powell bill that's included in that, and we can't spend that on anything but the Powell bill. So that's a restricted. You have unspent debt proceeds, like for a Smil fire truck that we can't, and another fire truck. We can't spend that on anything but what we said we were gonna spend it on. So there's certain things that are restricted, and that is explained on page 52. Okay?
So thank you for your question, Patrick. That, and thank you for attending the workshop also. And when you attend workshops like that, oftentimes you just have more questions after that. So there's an income to debt ratio percentage that's important. There are other important indicators in our budget, and the budget is made up of different accounts, and the 18 million that's really controllable and less restricted than some of the others is still restricted. So great question.
Come talk to me.
Please do.
Ask them. I'll talk to you. I will talk to you.
Okay, anyone else have a question? Yes, sir.
Scott Gillen, I live at 1062 South Brady Avenue. Appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight.
Sure.
And I know I got 3 minutes, and think about that. 3 minutes is the only time I get to speak publicly, voice my thoughts to this council and mayor, and sadly, it's the only opportunity many citizens have to be heard because the city of Newton does not allow comments on its Facebook page. I don't think that's accountability. It feels like control. We're the only city in Catawba County that I could find that does that. Maiden, Conover, Hickory, Catawba, they all allow public comments on their posts. They welcome feedback, dialogue, and accountability. I know you may say, well, why Facebook? Facebook's where people gather, it's where communities connect, but in Newton, it's a one-way street. The city speaks, citizens don't have a voice. Can't comment on it. Got turned off in July 2024. I don't know why. I hope somebody here can answer that question why. I think what Mr. Sturchie just said has some good points with the fees and stuff. If we had a dialogue with, if the city had a dialogue, an open dialogue, I don't know if you're trying to not talk to us, if you're trying to hide something, or if you're scared of something. I don't understand why you can't have comments and have an open dialogue with the citizens. So I guess my questions is, when will the citizens of Newton be allowed to speak freely on social media, especially Facebook, and when will the city allow its citizens to have a voice again? Because they don't have a voice. They can't talk to you guys. You get 3 minutes right here. I got 3 minutes, and this thing's gonna beep in a few seconds, and I'm gonna have to go sit down. But I would love to have some answers before that 3 minutes is up, if anybody is willing to answer my question. Why was it turned off?
Scott, let me just address this. I know you don't attend these meetings, or haven't.
I watch
Haven't.
I'm very familiar.
You do watch, so you are familiar with, the meetings are not, it's not a question and answer period at this time. It's not a debate. It is an opportunity for citizens to speak
Right.
their voice on
And
certain
I'm aware
issues.
of that, but I was hoping I would have
And-
respect of, since I can't communicate with you any other way, I have 3 minutes. I thought maybe I get the answer back, but it
Well-
sounds like I'm not gonna get that.
The bottom line is you always have an opportunity to speak to any of us.
So I can have I can
You can
talk to
you can
everybody.
come and
Why can't
speak.
you just answer the question?
You can speak to, because I'm explaining how that system works, because I'm not gonna explain it 50 different
I'll be
times.
silenced and sit down. Thank you.
Well, I would suggest to you that after watching those two clips that you would see that they're totally different. Obviously, the length is significantly different in the sense that the first speaker got 10 minutes and the second speaker gave up after 2.5 minutes. The first speaker was greeted very happily, very pleasantly, and to be specific, a 10-minute, 45-second discourse, a true discussion, was conducted, even though the mayor said at the very front end of the clip, we got 3 minutes and that's it. So speaker number one got over 3 times the legal limit. Speaker number two gave up after 2.5 minutes. To be exact, 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Obviously, both of these gentlemen are candidates for a seat on city council. One is Mr. Sturchie, and one is Mr. Gilliland. Why do you think the two clips are so different? I think you should draw your own conclusions as to how these two meetings were conducted and the reasons behind the great difference. In fact, the only thing consistent about the way the meetings are conducted in Newton is the inconsistency of these meetings. Today it's 3 minutes. Next week it'll be 4 minutes. Then it'll be 10 minutes. Then it'll be somebody gets frustrated and gives up. The rules don't apply equally to all the citizens of Newton. and even the guests that speak. That is not only wrong and inconsistent and shows disparate treatment, I believe it's a violation of the constitutional rights of all of us. Favoritism is not allowed. Equal protection under the law. What do? You've got a choice. And I've said it again and again, it's unpleasant, but it's true. If you want the current gang of four or whatever to continue the trashing of our rights, playing favorites, being part of this elite culture in Newton, then you should vote for them again and send the three of us, Mr. Gilliland, Mr. Wright, and myself, home. And everybody else that's running. If you want real change, what have you got to lose? Give us a chance. Let us show you that every citizen will be treated as best and humanly possible as we can. We'll have rules and we'll follow them. We'll care as much about the richest person in Newton as the poorest citizen of Newton. We don't care where you live. We won't care what color you are or anything else other than citizens will be treated equally. It's our money. It's our town. And it's our rights. It's time that all of these concepts be returned in equality.
Thank you for watching today. William D. Powell, candidate for City Council, and the committee to elect Bill Powell to Newton City Council are solely responsible for the content of this program, and there were no costs associated with its production.